Sharks?
啥？鲨鱼
Shark.
J-E-R-U-N-G 中 Sharks
Shark.
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 Welcome back to the Breakfast Show. We're kicking off this part of the show with yet another call for all of you to stop eating shark fins. As the tagline goes, when the buying stops, the killing can too.
But that doesn't seem to be the case because according to recent statistics, more than 11,300 sharks are still killed every hour for their fins.
That's over 100 million sharks brutally murdered every year. And that will only lead to one thing: total extinction of the species.
And here are some other facts that we gathered from the Shark Foundation website on the leading causes in shark extinction. Now, principal customers for shark fins are mainly Eastern cultures in which shark fin soup represents a cultural meal. But did you know that a shark's fin, which consists 90% cartilage, is extensively tasteless and only after days of boiling up in a broth becomes soft and is infused with the taste? Now, in the health sector, shark cartilage powders is marketed as a fit-making food additive, although shark cartilage contains absolutely no wholesome ingredients. Now, most problematic is the marketing of shark cartilage as an anti-cancer means. But research has confirmed that shark cartilage preparations showed absolutely no effect against cancer.
Now, finning is called as the cruel cutting off the fins of the shark. Though cruel, it is lucrative. For a kilo of shark fins in Asia, an average over $100 is paid. Hong Kong, mainland China, Taiwan, and Singapore dominate the worldwide shark fin market.
Now, the population of all sorts of sharks worldwide is extremely threatened. In total, 82 sharks and ray species are registered on the so-called Red List of the World Conservation Union.
Now, the trick to turn the possible extinction of sharks around is rather simple, and you can start by saying no, thank you to that bowl of shark fin soup.
Yes, and with us this morning are two people who are encouraging all Malaysians to do just that. Please welcome the founder of Save Our Sharks from a Bowl of Soup, Kirk, and a big advocate of the campaign, Patrick Teoh.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Right, I guess let's talk about this very interesting campaign called Save Our Sharks from a Bowl of Soup. Kirk, perhaps you'd like to tell us a bit more about this and how it all came about for you.
Yes, what we do in Save Our Sharks for a Bowl of Soup, we actually create awareness and to educate publics on the shark fin crisis. What does it mean by shark fin crisis? Well, up to 73 million of sharks being killed annually just to supply the demands of shark fin soup.
Right.
1/3 of shark species has been threatened to extinctions, and sharks actually does play a very important role in the marine ecosystems. And our mission is to convince people to say no to shark fin soup.
Right. And now, for people who are not very clear, or not familiar with the term finning, could you maybe elaborate a little bit more? What does a shark actually go through in order for humans to collect that fin?
Yeah, well, Patrick, would you want to?
Well, basically, they take the shark out of the water, use a very sharp knife, cut off all the fins,
Right.
and throw the guy back into the water to drown.
And they can't survive without
They
the
cannot
fin.
survive, of course not, because they cut off every single fin of the shark
Right.
that is saleable.
It's kind of like a person without their limbs,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Exactly,
Yeah.
and they throw the shark back
And you're
into
supposed
the
to
water
live.
drown. Yeah, that's right.
It is very funny because we approach a lot of people. Actually, quite a small group of people actually does ask us, would they grow back? Would they survive just like plants?
It's not a starfish, people.
Will you grow
Not
back your
a
arm?
starfish.
Will you grow back your leg?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
But why do you think, shark's fin, the consumption of shark's fin is still so popular in Asia? I mean, we've read out a couple of things, anti-cancer.
I suppose it's a very human thing because the only thing that shark's fins and shark's fin soup provides the people who consume it is the right to brag.
Right.
I spent 1,000 ringgit a bowl to buy this for you. So,
Right.
I can tell my friends, I spent all this money to buy shark's fin. So that's the only reason why people eat it. Because like you rightly pointed out just now, there is absolutely no nutritional value in shark's fin. And the worst thing is, it has absolutely no taste.
Yeah.
So if you
It's the
enjoy
soup
if you
that-
enjoy shark's fin soup
Yeah.
so much, then I would suggest you go and have shark's finless shark's fin soup.
Yeah.
Because all you're tasting is the chicken,
Yeah.
the
broth,
the seafood, the abalone or whatever that's in it.
Right.
You don't taste the shark's fin at all.
Barely,
And I
yeah.
believe that, you know, if chefs are in Chinese restaurants particularly, they are creative enough to be able to make you a bowl of shark's fin soup that'll cost you just as much as
Yeah.
you know, as if you were to have shark's fin in it. So you still have bragging rights.
Yeah,
even,
definitely.
Even better ones, actually. See, I bought a bowl of no shark's fin soup, but very expensive one.
Tastes like
No?
there's shark's
Yeah.
fins in it.
You can
No,
even
you,
use
you
bold
can't say
leaf
that
if
it
you-
tastes like shark's fin because shark's fin has no taste.
Right. So even that phrase is wrong.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
technically.
I mean, kudos to some people. I mean, for example, hotel chains like the Peninsula
And the Shangri-La.
and the Shangri-La have actually now banned shark's fin in all their restaurants across
As
the
they
world.
should, because I believe as a consumer, as a Malaysian, I believe a big part of the fault are the hotels and the restaurants.
That's right.
I mean, if they had not come out with the promotions to monk jump over this wall or this guy shat over there kind of thing,
Right. Right.
and sell it to you for 1,000 ringgit a bowl,
Yeah.
then it wouldn't have happened so, you know, so rampantly.
But this is interesting, like over this Chinese New Year, right? So family reunion dinner, we went out, my family went out, and we decided, okay, we're not gonna have shark fin soup this year. So my dad asked the restaurant, said, we don't want shark fin soup, can we change for another soup? And the restaurant owner says, yes, you can, but you have to add money. For what? And my dad said, what are you gonna give me on top of shark fin soup? And they said, we're gonna give you chicken soup. And we're thinking like, wait a minute, chicken soup is more expensive than shark's fin soup?
Not really. What he's trying to do, of course, is to tell you, or not tell you, I boiled this big cauldron of shark's fin soup and I got to sell it.
Sell it,
So if you want me to give you something else, I have to charge you more because I got to throw away this bowl of shark's fin soup.
That's right. So it doesn't really make sense. So for some people who are not aware of this campaign or this plight just yet, they might think, oh, I'm not going to add more money. You know, I'll just take the shark fin soup. You know, so that effort of actually trying to do something right has been,
See, it just reinforces my belief that a big part of the fault lies with hotels and restaurants
in a way, it does
and
definitely
the
so.
chefs who work in them.
Exactly. Now, you know, besides just the absolute cruelty to the animals that, you know, are killed for their fins, what are the consequences on, say, for example, the marine ecosystem?
Yeah.
If finning like this continues?
Well, it's very simple. The shark is part of the
Marine ecosystem.
ecological marine ecosystem. If there were no sharks in the world, certain species will
Overpopulate.
overpopulate.
Yeah.
Right? And it will upset, and we all know what happens when the ecosystem is upset. So that in itself is reason enough not to make them extinct.
Yeah. Now, but despite, I mean, there have been hundreds of campaigns telling people to stop eating, you know, shark's fin, but it still continues to this day. What do you think are some of the drawbacks of carrying out such awareness campaign?
Yeah, well, it's not something new. I mean, I think that lots of people have been trying to fight over this cause for more than 10 years. Well, basically, so far it's been quite positive. The people that we've spoken to, they are quite aware. They do understand the importance of sharks and why do we need to protect them. And many of them actually had pledged not to consume shark fin soup anymore. On the other hand, there's actually a group of people who don't believe in serving shark fin soup for the same reason, but they will still consume it when it's served.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
you know, so it's actually very hard for us to convince them that as long it's still consumed,
Not ordering it, but just eating it is
Yeah.
just as bad.
Just as bad.
you still be a part of the demands that drive the extinction of sharks.
Absolutely.
Right.
Now,
Okay.
Patrick, how did you decide to
Yeah.
support the cause, or has it always been something
Well,
you
no,
believed in?
I'm not a shark hugger, and I didn't, you know, consciously go out and say, hey, I want to. But I did it because of two reasons. One, because Kirk approached me and said, would you do this public service announcement with us? And the second reason is, although I have been an old Chinese guy, I've eaten my fair share of shark's fin soup, but I've never really enjoyed it.
Right.
And I've never really known why people would pay so much money
Right.
for what is basically a tasteless piece of cartilage that does no good. you know?
Right.
So those are the two reasons why I'm in the.
So it made
in this
sense
effort,
to you.
yeah.
Made perfect sense,
absolute
right?
sense, yeah.
The cost of it versus the some of the repercussions.
In that way, I suppose I'm not so Chinese. Because I wouldn't order a 1,000 ringgit bowl of shark's fin for you, even if you were my very good friend.
Yeah. The
But
other
that's
thing
still
I
quite
think-
Chinese. It's quite prudent in that
The other
sense.
bad habit I think is we see in weddings in Southeast Asia. They say, oh, if you don't serve shark's fin food, then the ang pao very small.
Yeah, it'll be bad luck. So there's
Well,
all
that
this
is true too.
this cultural thing that we actually have to detach ourselves from, especially the whole like weddings and Chinese New
It's
Year.
actually a very human thing. It's not Eastern culture. It's just that Eastern culture has to do with shark's fin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just a human thing of wanting to boast.
And
I
having
mean,
something exotic.
Why would
as
you
well.
buy a 6-liter guzzler knowing
Right.
that fossil fuels
Yeah.
pollute the earth? Because I can,
Right.
Yeah.
right?
It's
It's
true.
the same reason. So it's a very human thing. And that is one of the reasons why it's so hard to battle this the shark's fin, eating shark's fin. Just as the same as you know, telling Jeremy Clarkson why he shouldn't be driving 6-liter cars.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Good point, that one.
I guess it's more on expected things, you know.
Yeah.
It's like for Westerner they have turkey for Thanksgiving. You know, something that is being expected. Not only is for everybody, and this is something really expected. And of course for people who attend the wedding say, oh, we give you ang pao and we expected shark fin soup. So
Right,
it's been quite a
right.
pressure to the whole things shark fin soup. Yeah.
Yeah, think about it. It's kind of a warped tradition,
Yeah.
you know?
But the thing is about I think Joe, you mentioned about if you don't have shark fin soup, ang pao smaller. But the thing about all Chinese wedding dinners, and all of you guys who are non-Chinese should take note, you only get to see the menu after you
you
pay
eat
the ang
the
pao. So what difference does it make?
The difference is that they'll talk bad about you and they don't like that.
Don't matter.
Means, you know, it's
I'm
the
Chinese,
face.
so by
It's the
that time I
face.
really got your money.
That's the ruthless Chinese.
But speaking of the money, you know, some fishermen, especially I suppose those in Japan,
Yeah.
not so much fishermen, but the fishing vessels, will argue that, you know, once shark finning stops, it's going to affect our income, yada, yada, yada. What do we say to these people?
Well, I don't know. Maybe you could answer that.
Yeah.
Kirk.
Well, I mean, let's more localize. Like, let's say, put Malaysia for instance. As far as I understand that in Malaysia we have plenty of fishes in Malaysian waters, and I don't think that would really affect the fishermen.
Right.
Yeah. So
There's still other fishes in the sea
that's
which
right,
they can
and
definitely
they are fishermen, so
they can fish, but
Yes.
obviously not as
It all
lucrative.
boils down to one thing: greed.
Yeah.
demands.
In one culture, they demand it because they are greedy for boasting rights. The other industry continues to do it because they are greedy. It's an easy way of making huge
Huge
profits.
sums of money.
The
Yeah.
restaurants too, I suppose. You know, if you can come up with an interesting way of serving shark's fin, people will pay you 1,000 ringgit for each bowl that you sell.
Yeah.
That's right. That's
It's a
right.
vicious circle, actually.
But there's also all these alternatives now, like, you know, vegetarian restaurants do make like.
That's one of the
Shark
things I
fin soup.
asked Kirk some time ago when he asked me to do this PSA. I said, now we are so innovative when it comes to food and other stuff. Why doesn't somebody somewhere in Japan, fishermen in Japan or China, you're so innovative about so many things, invent artificial shark's fin soup? You make a killing, right?
Literally, yeah.
I mean, if they can make vegetarian steak or mutton
Yeah.
taste like the real thing, I'm sure they can make shark's fin artificially.
I think fake shark fins has been around for a long time. In fact, a lot of restaurants use it and tell you that you're getting real
It's
stuff.
actually one of the reasons why I never order shark's fin. Other than the fact that I know I don't like
You don't want to
eating
get
it.
cheated.
I know I'm paying good money for something which I know isn't shark's fin.
Yeah.
Right.
So why
Yeah.
should I?
Yeah, it's
So a
true.
lot of it, you know, boils down to education, which is what you're trying to do with this campaign.
That's
But how are you doing it? You know, we've seen your video PSAs,
Right,
but
right.
what else are you guys doing?
Well, I mean, other than PSA that we have done, we actually had a puppet show, a children event in one of Tamil last year, December. It's a collaboration between us and Wireless Renewable Heart. It's actually a children publication company. We have art and craft, and of course our main focus is actually the puppet shows. We have animations characters such as Bruce from the animation Nemo. That's right.
Yeah.
So at the same time, we educate the children and their parents on shark conservations. Yeah.
So actually, do you go on road? What you're doing to extend this campaign further is you go on the road, you do road shows, you do ground activities and things like that.
Yes, so far we actually have a good feedbacks, and we do have quite a number of invitations to actually to have the puppet show again. It's something really new and interesting, and of course at the end, at the same time, it's actually educational on the marine oceans, and yes, this is something that we really plans to move forward as well.
Yeah, you definitely have to go to all the Chinese-centric towns, townships and all, because they're the ones who buy it by the
launch
lots,
a Greenpeace-like campaign in front of the Chinese restaurants.
I think we should launch a campaign involving all the restaurants, Malay, Chinese, Indian, or all the restaurants and all the hotels in this country to come up with tasty artificial shark's fin.
You know, every year we do that, chocolate cake competition. Right? I think this year it should be the fake shark's fin soup competition.
That's a great idea.
Okay, there we go.
There we go.
Save
We'll
the
pitch
sharks
that.
and keep a tradition alive at the same time.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you,
guys.
gentlemen. Yeah.
For more information on where maybe they'll take their campaign next, or just to watch the PSA or find out more information about the extinction of sharks, log on to their Facebook page. What you want to key in is shark fin crisis. And remember, consuming equals killing.
That's right. On that note, we're going to take a quick break, but still to come is your teen trading his